Hello, I'm Eric Skindard with the Hospital Association of Southern California. Today we're visiting with Megan Barajas, HASC's newest Regional Vice President, who covers the Inland Empire area. Megan is an IE local and a HASC staffer who took a unique path to the role. First of all, Megan, welcome. Thank you so much for doing the interview.
Great to be here. Thank you.
All right, well, let's get going. First question. Why don't you recap your history with HASC and the route you took to your current role? We may have a few listeners who don't know the story.
Sure. So I started with HASC a little over 6 years ago as the regional assistant to Jan Rem, who was the RVP at the time. I had just started going to school for my bachelor's degree, and I remember Jan asking me what I wanted to do with my degree, and I never really had an answer to that question. But she always said I could totally do her job, and of course I didn't believe her. So as time went on, Jan moved out of state, and then Kevin Porter assumed the role of RVP. And so I continued on as the regional assistant supporting Kevin and our members here in the IE, and I completed my bachelor's degree. And then Kevin encouraged me and was really a huge motivator for me to continue on and get my master's degree. So more time went on, and I did decide to go ahead and pursue my master's in public administration. And so COVID hit, and we're going through the pandemic with all of our members. And Kevin, took a leave of absence for a bit, and so I filled in for a few months, and then Kevin came back, and he was only back for a few months, and then he decided officially he was going to retire. So at that time, I was about a year done with my master's degree, and so I just thought, maybe I can do this. And then I had encouragers like Mark and Paul and George and, our executive leadership just cheer me on, and they were always there for me. And so when Kevin did retire and I was filling in, it fit and it seemed to be the right direction. And I'm so glad that I was able to move up from the regional assistant role into this RVP role.
Wow, that's really interesting, Megan. And from what I hear, you're doing the job and you're doing it well. So congratulations. I have to ask you real quick, did I read somewhere that you have plans to work on a doctorate?
I do. I do plan to pursue my doctorate degree, but that won't be for several more years. Probably when my son goes off to college, we'll probably go together. But I plan to take a very long break off of school for now.
That sounds good. Okay, well, next question. One of the most notable things HASC has done during the pandemic is to facilitate communication between its members and state and local public health and emergency services officials and agencies. I know you've played a role in this area, especially with local agencies, if not mistaken. Tell us a little bit about your work.
Sure. So what we learned quickly at the beginning of the pandemic was that we really needed to bring together all of the people who needed to coordinate in order to ensure that things were flowing and moving and to make sure we had the right resources. So we started having regular phone calls with our hospital members and with county leadership, so county public health and then the county emergency medical services agencies. And so we pulled everyone together. We started looking at the data, doing analysis of the data, and really leading on our county officials and our emergency officials and our hospitals too, as subject matter experts into their own facilities, and just keeping those lines of communication open and making sure that across all sectors everyone is understanding what's happening, maybe what's working well or what isn't working well, and what resources are needed and how to access those resources as well. So it was really bringing the right people to the table to engage, and we've been able to keep those lines of communication open because we started that, and so we still have regular forums weekly now with this new surge that everyone participates and engages and communicates.
Well, that sounds great. That's very interesting. From what I have heard from multiple sources, that's one of the key areas that HASC really provides value to its members, so way to go there. Let's see, moving along here, finally, Megan, you shared in the text portion of the interview that you're a passionate salsa dancer. It sounds like a great mix of exercise and social interaction and art. Maybe just share what you love about it and what you get out of it.
Sure. So my passion and love for Latin dancing, I guess, has always been there. I just never knew how to do it. And back in 2016, I finally decided that I was going to start taking classes. So I went to a professional ballroom studio, and so I learned several dances, that being of salsa and bachata and a couple of other Latin dances. And I love the energy and the way that you can connect with someone on the dance floor. It really is like a different language, but it's a language that is universal. Really, if you know the dance, even if you don't know the dance, it's really fun to just, like you said, there's a social aspect to that. So being able to connect in that way, and that's actually how I met my husband. So we both enjoy that, and we do that when we can. We used to do it much more often than we do now, but it's just fun, and it's a great passion.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's see, we're nearing the end of the interview. I wanted to follow up on one little thing. You mentioned working on a doctorate at some point. In what area would you be pursuing that PhD? Just curious.
I think it's too early to tell. There's so many different routes that I can take. I'm not sure. It might be a population health driven. It might be, I really don't know. I can't make any assumptions at this point, but it will definitely be something that I can use in this industry. I do think that I'll be in this industry and in this space for quite some time. So.
Well, fair enough. That sounds like a good plan. Maybe not to have too detailed of a plan. Anyway, we're coming up on time. Thank you, Megan Barajas. It's been a pleasure hanging out a little bit. Thank you so much, and take care.
Thank you. You too.